Hello there. Good evening. Tonight, I'm going to talk about kind of a metaphor of what a StarScream is. Now, the character StarScream comes from the TV series Transformers. That's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about a StarScream. I'm sure other people have made videos similar to this one. However, I've not seen them. Anyway, Starscream isn't necessarily something somebody wants to be. Quite often, it's a title, and they are labeled it. I was labeled a Starscream. All avenues of having a normal social life were thrown away for me. I got sentenced to the Isle of Silence because I fell through the cracks of society. It happens to good people. That's, part of life, unfortunately. So yeah, I made a YouTube channel and I talked about a lot of things. And, I have a lot of opinions that some people don't like. And I'm a very stubborn man. I don't change my opinions very easily. Yeah. And there's reasons for that because I'm not a pushover. A lot of people like to think I am, but I'm not. And, I turned to YouTube as kind of a way of expressing myself and maybe make some of those monetization monies. That would be nice. Someday. Because I have a YouTube channel that no one else could ever have. Well, that's not true. The Starscream, the stars, celebrities, important people. An important person doesn't necessarily have to be a celebrity. Probably could be an anonymous person. They can hear and watch this video. And I know for a damn fact that somebody important is watching this video. Probably many important people are watching this video. So, a win for me anyway. Even though I don't get any recognition for it. Some of that recognition would be good too, but, fine, have it your way. No recognition. Don't need it anyway. There's two aspects to being a Starscream. One, a lot of celebrities have actually gone through great strife in their earlier lives. I say, I had a fairly good childhood. I got the newest game systems. I was happy, and things, went mostly my way. So, I had a good childhood. Last 7 years haven't been too good because I have had a artificially induced sore throat as well as all kinds of physical things going on in my head. It's not my psychology was screwed up. It's like, no, the chemicals are doing things in my head. And it's because of the medications I had to take. So, that would be my great strife. The scream part of being a Starscream. It's because that's the whole point of being a Starscream, is that you want people to see your problems so that important people, so that they can fix them. If they so desire to do so. And my problems aren't whiny little bitch problems. I mean, there have been many different types of Starscreams over the years. There's actually a lot of women that are Starscreams. Usually they're fawning over an attractive guy or whatever that they like, who's important, and they're doing anything to get his attention, yada, 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 all that kind of stuff. And then you get the losers that are Starscreams that, they fell through the cracks too. They made a YouTube channel probably. There was this one instance where I watched a documentary about this one particular guy who made videos. I don't know if he put them on YouTube or not. This was a great many years ago I watched this documentary, so I don't remember the guy's name, okay? Anyway, he kind of went into a state of madness. He was losing it in the head, and it was showing in his videos. And at some point, he had a fascination with some Asian singer. I don't know why anyone would have a fascination with an Asian singer, but he did anyway. And he created some sort of spring trap that he was going to mail to her in his crazy way. And then he made a video explaining that he was going to do that, and obviously he got caught because he's a fat idiot. And, you know, he got the treatment he deserved, I would think. I don't actually know that, but I would suspect that's what happened. And that's part of the thing is this StarScream cult of personality is sometimes they build people up to tear them down. It's like, well, you just explained that the scream part of the StarScream is that they're going through great anguish and they're trying to get attention from that. Well, you'd be surprised. You can still be built up while you're in anguish. A normal person wouldn't think that, but and I wouldn't have either if it didn't happen to me, but it did. The difference is a lot of Starscreams crash and burn. That's not going to happen to me. Oh, no. You know, I've had to put up with a lot of bullshit over the years, and guess what? No, I am not just going to, you know, crawl away and wither away and go, oh, no. It isn't happening. Yeah, as long as I am able to make YouTube videos, I will continue to do so. Because even though I don't get any recognition for them, and I should, because of how amazing they are, I mean, they could be better if, you know, I had a script and maybe some props and some animation or whatever, but I don't have those things. I'm a person talking about real life problems. And if you watched any of my videos, you would know that I have solved some of the great riddles of society. But nobody says a damn word about them to me. Oh, no, 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 no. That would be recognition, and I don't get any of that. They wanted me to be a big crybaby is what it is. And, no, no, and no. I suspect that there are a number of problems with my cult of personality. My title, labeled as a Starscream, didn't really have a choice in the matter. There are a few problems. One, a lot of my opinions that people don't like, and they're free to do so. They're only opinions. And, you know, someone can have a different opinion than you, and they're not necessarily wrong. You know, and I like to think that my opinions are sound. I like to think that anyway. So the point is, when you get in front of a screen and you start explaining things about what, you know, what are the facts about certain things, that's how you make enemies, unfortunately, in this society, because there are people who do know things and they don't want other people to know things. So they get mad at you when you go to explain certain things they don't want to explain because they have an alternate fact that they'll get very angry at you if you tell them why they're wrong and make them look foolish. But I do it anyway. That's one problem. Is that there are people who are actively disliking me. I'm not gonna try and be everyone's friend or, you know, try to you know, walk on eggshells here. I'm gonna say things the way they are. So, you know, some people get offended by that. That's just too bad. That's one problem. I got enemies. I got enemies, all kinds of enemies, enemies I've never even seen before, who would like to continue treating me like I'm a punching bag. I personally don't like the idea of being a punching bag, so, you know, no. The other problem is there are actually people who do like me, but who want to dismantle me and everything that I am. That is also a no. I am not going to get dismantled by anybody. I mean, there are certain things that some people are going to go, well, I have a more educated opinion on that subject than you do, and you're wrong, and this is why you're wrong, blah, 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 blah. And I may or may not agree with them. I am open to suggestion, I suppose. Um, However, getting back to the dismantling me thing, there's actually quite a few women out there that like me, but they don't want me to ever be successful in what I'm doing here. Because that's sort of how they get their, what's the word for it? I don't want to say revenge, but I guess it is revenge against the male society, because it's always men who are successful. As far as building themselves up and accomplishing something, it was typically as men. Not being sexist, there it's statistical information, and they do it a little bit more dignity. Because what happened to me with mental health and the 7 years anguish I suffered from them. I've been a patient for 10 years, but it was 7 years where it was real bad as far as physical pain goes. I'm telling you, I don't think I've ever met a woman that could have taken it. They would have wigged out and further entrenched themselves into the system. I didn't wig out, as it were. I have been a bit snarly sometimes with the people I had to deal with, but oh well, that's what you get. That's what you get for being a bastard to me. Yeah, and I know in the medical community there's definitely people watching, and they are important people, and they like their anonymity. They don't want anyone knowing who they are, but they want to know everything about you. And they'll poke and prod, and they'll basically, you know, if they have any interest in you at all, that is usually a bad thing, because they only know how to think bad things when they have an interest in someone. Oof. And I wouldn't even want to think of a woman with power who enjoys exercising that power, and it can be in many forms how they exercise their power, but sometimes it's very bad things, things that I don't want, because I think I'm a greatly misunderstood person. And a lot of my internet activity actually is fairly benign, for one thing, and two, it's not necessarily a representation of who I am all the time. Because some people go, well, you repetitively listen to some tunes when you've had a few drinks. So what? I like a tune until I get bored of it, and then I move on to the next one. There's nothing unusual about that. As an involuntary celebrity that isn't allowed to have normal relationships, especially with women, um, I have to keep my equipment working, so yes, I watch pornography. I don't enjoy watching pornography, but I do watch it. Well, I don't really watch it. I kind of, get my business out of the way, and then that's about it. I don't care much for storylines when it's pornography. And not only that, I don't want it looking like any interest I would have in the real world, because they're two separate things, completely separate things. I mean, people don't understand that, and a lot of people think pornography is a good thing, and it's like, no, it's got a lot of problems with it, and a lot of things I don't like about it. So no, it isn't a good thing, and if I could regularly go with women, I wouldn't need it at all. I could live without it. I preferred Playboy magazine before it got weird, of course. That's something that people don't understand. Like, they look at my, all the websites I go to, and they don't understand, because they go, well, this is him. It's like, well, maybe it's a smokescreen that I put up so that you idiots would be distracted. You don't know that. I mean, it's funny when people tell you, oh, you're mad. It's mostly on Facebook, people will say that, where they go, oh, you're angry. Excuse me, this is a typed out document onto the computer. You can't tell exactly what I feel at any given time unless you watch my YouTube videos, but then usually I'm not talking about a specific thing that I was talking to you about in written language. So they have no right to be saying you're angry, you're this, you're that. I mean, I'll let them know if I'm, upset with something they've said, with very careful wording, because I don't want to get banned on Facebook. Because as soon as you do, then people start making up stories about you that aren't true, but they figure they can get away with it if the person they're making the stories up about never hears it, which is kind of the problem I've had to deal with for a long time. Is people have been making up stories about me that aren't true. And that's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. But I know important people watch this YouTube channel because it's a ghost town. I'm the only one here. Nobody says anything. Like every couple of weeks, there'll be somebody who might comment on one of my acid reflux videos. The early days of YouTube making. Those were good days. Yeah. But it'll be a robot who says it, and they'll say the same generic thing. And it's not like you can get into a real conversation with them because they're a robot. They don't want me having real conversations with people, do they? They would prefer that I, kind of just withered away and, gave up and, went, oh, I'm going to live a normal life and, oh, the bad things that happened to me, the people that did it are going to get away with it. Wrong. Wrong, buddy. But I ain't going to do what you think I'm going to do, that's for sure. Oh, no. I'll think of something. Don't you worry about that. Yeah, because I'm quite the good problem solver when I want to be. Yeah. So, yeah, this whole building people up and tearing them down thing, it's like, well, when the StarScream is in anguish and is crying for attention, I'm not doing that, by the way. I'm making YouTube videos. It's odd that they can be built up as they're in pain. There was this one animated movie, and I forget what it's called. Was it called Fatal Fury? I forget what it was called. But there was one guy who was in one scene, and basically he had a wound on his chest, and so long as the wound never healed, he got stronger and stronger. I don't know the character's name, and I don't even know if that was the correct word, the correct title for the movie. I'm sure some geek out there knows what that movie was. It wasn't bad. Oh wait, my friend from Australia would know that movie. I think it was Fatal Fury. Anyway, that's not important. Yeah. The lack of anything being said indicates that a lot of people are watching this. And then I have made videos before where I've said, look, I would have to get adjusted to being able to speak in front of a lot of people. It can be done. I can train myself to, not be intimidated by jeers and heckling and all that sort of stuff. The things you have to put up when you are in front of a lot of people explaining things they don't want to hear. And I can handle it, being a stand-up comic isn't exactly everything, people think that it is. There's a lot of things about being a stand-up comic. And people get very, very, very serious about what you say in front of the television. They get very serious about it because you might put a thought in somebody's head. A thought that they don't want put there. And it might be a benign thought, but it might be contradictory to, the thoughts they were putting in people's heads. And as I said again, it's not that you're wrong, it's that you have a different opinion than somebody. I mean, sometimes people are wrong, obviously, but, sometimes they're not. And, I think all I gotta do is persevere. Keep climbing that damn mountain. And, I see no reason in quitting, packing my stuff and giving up. That's a loser's mentality. And, oh no, there is no way that some woman out there is gonna, you know, metaphorically kill me as far as, putting a stop to my YouTube channel, uh, doing something to my military that I wouldn't like, um, denouncing hockey, which I also wouldn't like. Um, the movies I take pride in, that I really enjoy, that are fun for me to watch. Destroying those and trying to incorporate what they think is funny and what is good. No, well, if you got something good to say, sure, maybe. But if you don't, I'm going to let you know that it isn't any good. Because essentially, some women think if they show up in a relationship and they change the man, therefore they've finished him off. That's what some women think. And it's like, no. And, as someone who doesn't get to talk to a lot of people, I have to figure out what it exactly is that they think. And, I could be wrong, but I think this is the approach they're gonna be, questioning me or thinking of me or whatever. And you have to do it because otherwise, you everything becomes oversimplified and you don't understand anything. And you do have to be careful not to, go down a path of thinking that's wrong. Um, because that would be a dumb thing to do. Um, yeah. Well, yeah, this topic of StarScream. I'm gonna make more videos about it actually because there's so many aspects to it. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a fairly good Starscream actually. I don't think I'm irritating. Well, actually, I am irritating to some people. Me existing irritates some people. Um, but all in all, I think I'm not very irritating. I like to think that. Um, and I got things going on my channel that no one else has, and no one else can do. And those who could pull it off wouldn't want to do it anyway because part of being a Starscream is going through, hard times in one form or another, and then you get rewarded by society. And I had a severe sore throat for 7 years, so I think I've earned my spot in where I'm going. Some people are going to disagree with that, as evident, because I'm not there yet. But someday I will be. And when I'm there, you know what? Fuck all y'all. So, yeah. Keep climbing that ladder. Eventually you're going to get somewhere good. And do not let people think that you're a pickle mush head and that you're sitting there waiting to be programmed by them. Because you may not like their programming. I mean, of course you want to learn things, but there are things you don't need to know about or want to know about. Like I said before. So yeah, anyway, talk to people later, and you have yourselves a good night. Or a bad night, whatever you want.